Hey everybody, this is Doug Guardsman, and we're back here with another episode. So what we're going to do in this one is actually do a little bit of work on the mod itself. I don't show off work as often anymore because people seem to be just a little bored by the long extruding process it takes to actually make mods. So we're going to keep this short though. We're going to be focusing on working on just the grenade textures here. I thought we were going to be doing the cart textures as well, but apparently they're not in the folder. So what I mean by folders, we actually have a folder system, and I accidentally just recently closed that, where we actually take in all requests for textures from our artists, and they actually do things. And in here we only have grenades, so this is what we're actually going to be working on. So let's go ahead and show off what the current textures look like. Of course you can see them up in the tab, you can see them down here as well. Let's go ahead and throw them in the world. Their entity renders are literally the same as their item renders. We may eventually come through later and actually give them 3D models when they're dropped and everything, but that'll happen later. But they look okay. They've worked for a couple years here, but when you start sitting here and you're looking at some of the textures, like we have the radar signal, or signal disruptor, the trackers, everything else, they don't match the rest of the textures in the mod, so we got a little bit of a disunion in the theme and style of the mod. So we're going to go ahead and bring these into the same theme, and what I went ahead and did is asked our old texture artist who just showed up. He goes by the name of Chroma, but he used to be called Archadia. He helped us work on some of the old textures for a lot of the mods and everything. But he went ahead and made us some textures for the grenades, and made them somewhat fit what they were supposed to fit. They're not 100% spot on when it comes to the style, but to be honest, they work. I'm not going to complain. So he went with a little umbrella for the... he tried to make... he really did try to make this look like an umbrella, probably to get that joke out of the old Batman movies. But we can actually zoom in on a couple of these and get a nice view. Let's pick this one. So we got 32-bit ones, we got 16-bits. We're likely going to be using the 32-bit ones for this one because the 16-bit ones, they look nice. And I'm going to leave them in here, and if somebody wants to come through and make a texture pack where these use the 16-bit ones, feel free. But we're going to use the 32-bit ones just because I like the style of them, and they've got a lot more detail on them, and they fit the fact that a lot of our other textures are also 32-bit, and they are also a little higher res. So we're going to keep with that theme, because I believe even the block textures are a higher resolution. Yeah, I think these are actually 32 as well. So if everything's 32, we might as well be using 32 textures. No reason to start switching down to 16s if we already have everything else. So now that we've seen the old textures, and you can put your, by the way, in the comments, your opinion on what you think of the old textures versus the new ones, and if you really do want to keep the old ones. I will probably definitely throw these out so that way you guys can download them and make a texture pack if you want to still use the old ones. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, switching textures is actually remarkably easy, and most people who've ever made a resource pack probably know that you can just throw some stuff in a folder and you're done. But we're going to go ahead and go in here, and we just need to replace all of these. And if I hit shift instead of control, all of these with the new textures. So let's go ahead and close this. Don't save. Close, and there we go. And let's see if we can sort these. I won't let us sort by actual thing, so we'll have to just hit control and collect all these. So there's condensed, defibrillation, incendiary. Pipe bomb is our shrapnel one, so we'll have to rename that. I asked him to make a new one. He gave me the shrapnel one. The shrapnel one looks okay, but for it being a military themed mod, it looks too much like an improvised bomb, and I don't want that. So we've got these, and that is 8 textures, and over here we have 8 items. So cool. We're gonna copy these, and we're gonna hit paste. Now you can do this through the actual folder system, but I'm gonna do it through IntelliJ because it's faster and I can hit override all. And then we want to get actually we're gonna rename the shrapnel one. Refractor, rename. So copy this, and then delete. And for those who would be afraid, like I'm just deleting the textures and might not have the copies back, cool thing about GitHub, it's going to keep all the copies for us. And I'll go ahead and grab the copies in a second. So refractor, rename. Actually, I think I already have all the folders. Like we can probably go back in the request system, and there should be an archive folder. And in the archive folder should be the old ICBM textures. There's some of Archadia's old textures. Yeah, I was getting him to make some buttons for a game I was making a long time ago. Some liquid tubes. Yeah, we got a lot of textures in here. That's like, no, that's more liquid tubes. I have some duplicates in here, definitely. Other? Aha! We found them. And that is not what I was looking for. So apparently that's some models. It's always amazing when you try to come through here and you're looking for like all the old stuff and you can't find it. There's an old request folder. So there's a lot of the old atomic science requests. I wonder if there's anything interesting in here. So not the intent of this is to go exploring through files, but you know what? Might as well. Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. Definitely gonna have to recycle that. Completed, maybe? No. Okay, I'll find this later, but just know that I have all the old stuff. And here's even the old shrapnel ones. So we've got these in here now. I believe what I can do is just hit Control R to reload. Or actually, it's Alt R in my workspace. I get the hotkeys confused all the time. So that should reload any files. It will say it's not reloaded anything because it usually just focuses on the class files. And then if we hit F3T, that should reload resources. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just restart. So texture switching is easy, and I don't know why I made a whole video on this, but at least it gives you guys an opportunity to look at the new textures versus the old textures and give your opinion on what you think, if we should be actually replacing them or not, although this isn't going to be like the atomic science vote, so this is more just to hear your guys' opinion rather than to actually get a consensus of what we're actually going to do. So here we go, we can actually see this, and unfortunately they're all starting to disappear. But we can go ahead and get this. So they look a little bit more cartoony than they need to be. So what we may end up having to do is come through these again and tone down the collars to match the current ones. But they look good. So we got our conventional one, so that looks actually kind of nice. It's got the pineapple grenade style shape to it, but it looks a little bit more modern. Still does this nice explosion. We got our pipe bomb, which is our shrapnel. So that still works. A little more of a delay on that one. I think the delays are inherited from the actual explosion code itself, so if they go off quicker, or faster, or slower, that's based on the explosion. Nice animation. Okay, and we got our defibrillation one, which I believe is Sonic, maybe? No. It's one of them. That's all I know. Yeah, gives us some nice potion effects. Let me get some antidote out so I don't have to deal with that. There we go. Oh yeah, we're still in the gas cloud, so we're going to consistently get hit by that. There we go. So we got a chemical one, which is about the same. We still got to work on the animations and particles for this, so that'll be eventually handled. Luckily, that's inherited by all the explosion code, not just the grenades, so we don't have to really be worried about going through that. So you see that explode, there's actually a chemical cloud there that would mess us up if we get close. Anvil one, which does work. Still got to work on some of the rendering for it, because I want to get it nice and smooth and cleaned up. Specifically because the anvils kind of twist through the air, which kind of looks cool, so I'm definitely going to keep that. I might animate it, though. More twisting, maybe slower. Maybe have it tumble through the air when it hits you. So you got the attractive, which blows up the ground and actually pulls stuff towards it, or actually it's repulsive, which pushes stuff. Actually, we could throw this at our feet. Make sure it's still working. A little bit of wobbling on that. So these actually are entities, is what these actually are. So if we hit F3B when I throw this, and you can see how the entities are facing and stuff, you will actually see that that is an entity. The unfortunate thing is it looks like he's having some wobbling problems. We had this issue with missile rendering a while back. So I may end up actually writing a special render for that again. I did that for the missiles, the reason why when you come over here and you stare at the missiles in the tubes, these actually don't shake at all. These actually are item renders. This is actually how the item renders, so if I pick this up and throw this on the ground, they use the same render code for each one. So that's about it all I got for you. So in the comments, go ahead and give your opinion on what you think of all the missiles and everything. I'll be back with more videos as we go.